jump right into installation. We're not going to slow it down for anybody. And so I'm excited to see all these guys compete. So right now, obviously, Kelly has the confidence of everybody on the staff, but we know it's going to be a great competition going into camp.
What's the rubric for you guys when you're evaluating these quarterbacks?
You know, just the ability to manage the game, being consistent in all situations, being able to command all the players on offense, so you know what everybody's doing. Pressure under pressure, that you can remain calm, make all the throws, and really just being consistent, managing the game, and then making the throws that you need to make in the passing game.
What are the biggest unknowns for you guys heading into this season? I know probably a couple with some of the faces gone, but for you as a coach?
You know, the biggest thing for us as a coach is the leadership. Obviously, we know we lost a lot of production in the seniors that left, but we know that we got capable guys to replicate that production. The thing for us is just, are we going to have the same chemistry and the same leadership, and that's what we're looking for. You knew what you had. Obviously, everybody knows how great a player Deshaun and Wayne and Leggett and all those guys were, but it's just the leadership that they brought day in and day out. And so for us, the unknown is, where is that leadership going to come from? We have some guys that we've identified that we believe are going to step up, but at the same time, all of us who've played the game, we know that it's the individual players that have to step up. And so we can want guys to do it, but they got to want it for themselves. So that's really the unknown for us. We'll figure out ways offensively to generate the production, but we got to have that leadership, because again, it's not just production, it's the chemistry to be able to produce in all situations.
How excited are you about the running backs and who could potentially step up and fill that void?
Very excited, because I got three guys, two in particular that have been waiting for a long time, and then I got a young pup that's very, very talented, that kind of went through a humbling experience, which was good for him. You know, he didn't like it, but it was good for him, because now he's at a point where he understands what needs to be the basis of his confidence, and the basis of his confidence needs to be preparation. And the other two have watched Wayne do it for 3 years, so they know what it takes, and now it's their turn. So I'm very, very excited to see how this competition is going to shake out.
How do you think pass blocking is going to be integral in this competition?
Integral, it's probably going to be the most important thing, because obviously all those guys can run the football. They're very, very talented, and a lot of what they do is natural. And as a coach, you know, coach of running backs, that your job is to get them from 7 yards deep to the line of scrimmage, and then after that, you let them go play football. But that's only one piece of the game, and actually a small piece of the game. The most important piece is being able to protect the quarterback. And I think what you've seen over the last 2 years, what made Wayne so valuable is his ability to not just pick up the protectors, but know who to pick up, and then also to be able to be in tune to the game and on the same page with Deshaun, that there's nonverbal communication, that he can see things and anticipate and correct and make things right from a protection standpoint. So that's going to be critical. If you can't protect the quarterback, you're not going to get an opportunity to run the ball.
Do you think that one guy in particular may have an advantage, or do you think it's pretty even at this point?
You know, I think you would say that Fuller and Choice had the advantage just because they've been in the system longer. But I would say from a size standpoint, Feaster is the biggest one. He's up to about 220 pounds right now. He's really, you know, dived into the weight room. He's confident in where his strength is. I think one of the things last year that held him back is he was coming off a shoulder injury, and he wasn't confident in his strength. He didn't have confidence in strength. Now he's at a point of 220 pounds, so I think it's going to be critical. So no one has a distinct advantage, but again, the two older guys have a little more experience than Taylor.
Talk about some of the freshman wide receivers you got coming. You got Higgins and Amari Rogers coming out of Tennessee. They're on campus now. What do you think those guys fit into the picture this year, or do they?
Oh, well, with what we do on offense and the tempo that we play and the amount of plays that we play throughout the course of the game, you got to have a tremendous amount of depth. And obviously we got some of the top tier guys that have played a lot, and Hunter and Ray and Dion, and now we got to figure out who's that next group. And so those guys are coming in and different from a lot of guys, and they're ready to compete now. Obviously T. Higgins is a freak of nature, and you know, he hasn't really scratched his potential because he hasn't done much in the weight room. And then as he goes through his career, you're going to see some unbelievable things out of him. But Amari Rogers is the one that I'm interested to see, because he's already physically mature. You know, he comes from a football background. He loves to compete, and you'll always see him doing extra throughout the course of the day, whether it's in the evenings or early on.
Two other wide receivers, Overton and Powell, both seem to have also physically matured over the offseason. Yes. Powell came in looking like that at high school, but DeAndre Overton really put on some big weight from what I've seen. And what do you expect out of those two guys this year?
Well, right now, DeAndre is right behind Dion. And if you watch how we've operated over the last 2 years, the person that plays that second 9-man spot is just like a starter. You know, Dion made a ton of big plays for us. Everybody talks about Mike, but Dion made probably the biggest play of the national championship when he sparked us on the tunnel screen. Then he made some back shoulder throws. So that position right there is as critical as any position we have, is who is going to be that second 9-man, because one receiver cannot play 80 plays and be efficient and be dominant. And so So, he's going to have some competition, obviously, with T, pushing because he's coming in with the expectation of playing as a freshman. And so he needed an off season. We really, really challenged him, and Coach Sweeney was on him hard throughout the course of spring because we know that he has it. He has the potential. But again, he needed the confidence in the weight room to be able to go out and play, to his physical ability.
Where's how motivating is it for you to try to put on an offense to kind of duplicate what you guys did last year, given that you guys have so much talent?
I don't know if there's pressure to duplicate what we did. I guess the pressure and the fun for me is figuring out what's the identity of this offense, and it's actually changed each time that Jeff and I have taken over. Obviously, it was different with Cole Stout than it was in the 15 season. The 15 season, the 15 offense was different from the 16 offense. So I don't know if it's necessarily replicate. We understand what our role is within the team. We know that we're expected to be aggressive and to put up points and to put pressure on the opposing team. But at the same time, we got to be sound. And so the fun for me is figuring out what's the identity of this unit. And again, we got a ton of great ingredients. Now we just have to go stress them throughout the course of fall camp. And then once we get towards the end, refine them, and then go let them play. Somebody asked about TJ Chase.
Yeah, TJ Chase. Where's he fit in?
I think TJ Chase is going to be the silent assassin. I think he's going to, and really what he gives us is he gives us, some flexibility, and he gives us the ability to have something similar to Renfro in the slot. He's not as big and physically imposing as say a Cornell Powell, but he's very, very smooth, transitions out of his breaks, and I think this spring he caught everything. So very, very excited about him. He's probably going to be the one that doesn't get talked about the most, but I think he's going to show up when the lights come on.
Which one of the wide receivers in that group takes over the leadership role left behind by Mike Williams?
I think naturally Dion, because that's the position right there where you have to be an alpha dog because you're playing into the boundary. You don't get a whole lot of help. It's press coverage most of the time. But I would like to see Hunter. But Hunter's going to lead by example like he always does. And then I think Ray Ray is going to have a big year. You've seen a lot more consistency in his demeanor. You've seen a lot more maturity out of him. And so I think Ray Ray and Dion are going to be your vocal leaders. And then Renfro will be the guy that leads by example. And then we'll figure out how the freshmen and the young guys fit in as we get them in the camp.
Who's going to fit in that punt return role this year?
Punt return?
Ray Ray?
Naturally, you would love for it to be Ray Ray. And if you watch Ray Ray early in the season last year, he basically kind of put us, in the conversation nationally from a punt return standpoint. He did have the one, mistake. I think it was it Troy, where he dropped the ball before he went into the end zone, and from there, kind of, the confidence, took a shot there. But naturally him. But Renfro's always a steady guy, and then we'll see if some of these other ones. I know Taven is a guy that's been working on trying to catch some punts and looks pretty natural at it. But hopefully Ray Ray will really embrace that role, take over, and go dominate like he's capable of.
Tell me about Tavian a little bit. He came in with such high expectations, and people were expecting so much for him so quickly. Why did that not happen as quickly? Was it just Wayne being ahead of him, or was it other factors? And is he more ready to take that step this year?
He's definitely more ready to take that step this year. I think the situation with Taven is, he's coming out of a situation where he's the best player on the field. He's asked to run the ball. He's put in situations to get in space and use his speed. What he learned at this level is the holes are a lot smaller and they close a lot quicker. So you got to be a lot more efficient. And where he was never really asked to be efficient, he was just asked to go be athletic. And so I think there was a transition there. And I think his confidence took a little bit of a hit, coming off the shoulder injury. So you go all offseason not lifting weights, and now you're coming into a college program and you're asked to go pick up, Ben Boulware rushing in at 100 miles an hour at 230 pounds, and then there's no sympathy from Coach Elliott. You're going to make it look just like Wayne Gallman makes it look. And so I think it's just a combination of, he came into a situation, a lot of high expectations, but he had some adversity that hit that he needed to help him get to the point to where he's at now. And now his confidence at an all-time high. He's at 220 pounds. His weight room numbers are starting to go through the roof, so you're really starting to see the true potential. And so I'm appreciative that he had the adversity, because now I'm confident that his confidence is going to be where it needs to be, and it's going to be the right kind of confidence. It's not going to be, an inflated confidence. It's going to be a true confidence, because now he knows how to prepare, he knows what it takes, and he's put in the work, and now he's ready to go display his ability.